nationalities.
To no surprise, Canada.
So the two teams are pulling out of Southeast and Michigan.
Central. US West. US East.
US Southeast.
US Southwest.
U.S. Coast Team. Hopefully Taylor, Michigan.
There will be a Michigan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody on council have anything else? Mr. Chairman? So, Mr. Councilman Missouri, could you just recap who gets the buys for each of the international land?
International, Latin America, and Europe, Africa, and on the US side, US Central and US West.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hart.
Thank you, Jim. This now takes us to the regular part of the, or keeps us in open business. If anybody in the audience has any questions they'd like to ask, please come up, give your name and your address.
Hello everyone, my name is Colin Campbell. I'm with Taylor Soccer Club out of Heritage Park. This past Friday we received a lease agreement from the city, the recreation department. We are asking for an extension on this lease agreement that's given to us because we received the agreement Friday the 14th and we're given till the 24th to respond. There are three main things that we have questioned regarding this agreement. One, we want to set up a meeting. We want to discuss, we want to negotiate with these people, but we've had no communication back. We have reached out numerous times to numerous different people and have not gotten a response back. Secondly, in the agreement, it talks about a 3-year deal, especially with the Taylor Sports Complex. One of them states in the first year the fee would be $130 an hour. Secondly, the second year would be $135, and the third year being $140. Why is this different than the contractual agreement that was approved by you guys at $116 an hour? Thirdly, why was this contract not approved by the recreational committee?
Mr. Chairman? Mayor Song. To answer your first question, I know that Amanda Bannis from my office made several attempts to reach either yourself or Mr. Evans, I'm not sure exactly who, including a couple of calls today. So Mr. Dobek is here in the back. Certainly he is departing, but we're more than happy to meet. In terms of the rate, I think the rate is built in like normal agreements with escalators. And we, as you know, have some holes to make up from the previous year that the Taylor Soccer Club did not fulfill in their rental agreement with the Sportsplex. And third, nothing has been approved by anybody, including this body, because the terms of the agreement have not been met yet. At that point in time, once they have been met, then we will bring the agreement forward for approval, much like we have other agreements in the past, including the Little League Baseball. In terms of the extension, we're happy to grant an extension, but we would need it to be a defined time. We have met with all of these elected officials and kind of brought them up to speed of what our challenges are currently. So they're very aware of where we stand with the Taylor Soccer organization, but we're not being unreasonable, we just need to move the needle.
Okay, then my next question would be, do we have a written copy of this rental agreement from last year that we default on?
Mr. Chairman, I'll defer to Jeff, I don't know the answer, if they have one or don't have one.
If there is a rental agreement that was signed by both parties, I would like to see that, because how can you say there is a default if there is no written contract?
Jeff?
The chair, to council, mayor. Last fall, Mr. Evans, the soccer director, club director of Taylor Soccer or VFC, whatever the name is, came into the mayor's office and met with myself, the president, Craig Stanzik, and Mayor, and Cassandra Harris, the GM of TSX. They asked for additional hours. For us to give them additional hours, we had to take those hours away from other clubs, Dearborn, Roselle, and for doing that, we took a chance in losing them to rent and play in our leagues. There was an agreement that it was an agreement for a number of hours that they were to purchase from us. They tried a couple of times, Cassandra's not here this evening, but they tried a couple of times to give those hours back to us, that they didn't want to use those hours, but they ended up paying for those hours in this agreement. There is a signed agreement at the Sportsplex for their hours. As far as them not putting teams in the league, the part of the agreement, the basis of the bargain was, we'll give you more hours, but put teams in our leagues. They knew at the time they signed the agreement, they weren't putting teams in our league, they were playing, their teams were playing in Hamtramck. And there's postings online that say that. And there's families that are Taylor residents that drove to Detroit to play soccer games. I personally took calls from moms that didn't understand why they were driving to Hamtramck to play when the TSX was available to play in a league there.
Mr. Chairman, I think the greatest challenge we have right now is that this has evolved from a recreational soccer program into a elite travel program, which is good for you guys. Congratulations. Unfortunately for us, based on the answers we received from the president of your organization, about 20% of your enrollees are Taylor residents and about 80% are non-Taylor residents.
That is actually incorrect, and we have statistics to prove that. Secondly,
Okay, excuse me one second, if I may finish. Those were numbers provided to us, so if those are inaccurate, then they were provided inaccurately. And so the other challenge is that we give up a large portion of Heritage Park to your organization, and the only thing that the city ever really received in exchange for that was the rental at the Sportsplex. And this is the first year that we did not fulfill even close to that agreement. I think, Jeff, how many times were actually how many slotted times were actually taken this past year? Do you know that number?
So we budget each year for a number of teams from different clubs to play in our leagues. Historically, they've been anywhere between 15 and 25, and this year they had one.
So 1 out of 15 to 25. So again, we're not, we don't want to be unreasonable. We don't want to displace you guys. We've even came up with possible alternate solutions if we can't reach an agreement to keep you guys at Heritage Park. But I can tell you that we started this process in the winter, and here we are now, and I don't think we've made any significant progress.
well, Mr. Mayor, the thing with that is, we have reached out, just like you're saying that you guys have tried to reach us. We have proof of us reaching out to not just Cassandra, but Mr. Dovak with red receipts and no response. We have tried to make the conscious effort, and that part is not getting to you. As far as you guys just giving us, the only thing that we return back, we pay our water bill, which we also know that Little League does not, because they brag that they threw out the recreational agreement and don't pay. We also put $50,000 a year to maintain those fields, between fertilizing, between watering, to maintain them so that the city does not have to use the taxpayers' money to pay and cut and maintain those fields. There is a lot that we put into this that we use for these players to play at, that I don't think is getting out there. As far as us going to Hamtramck, that is false. There is no indoor facility at Hamtramck. There is an outdoor field that maybe a team plays through league play, just like a Bell Tire team would play. They travel to other ice rinks. Our program is still more than 51% recreational, which is mainly Taylor residents. That name has not changed. The only thing that has changed is the color of the uniforms that we have. Our travel that you guys are referring to is no different than the amount of teams that were there that were 6 years ago, and we can prove that. There is a history going back of the teams that were registered through the Premier League, through the Select League, through the Rec League, that we can bring back and prove that nothing has changed other than being and making sure that these kids have a legitimate place to play. And if they want to say that they budgeted for these amount of teams to play in the league, I ran the books today. I'm the treasurer. I cut all the checks. We paid the city of Taylor, the Taylor Sportsplex, more money than we did in the prior year by $6,000 when we had put teams in the league. We paid $48,800 even for every bit of time that we